Welcome in, folks. Welcome to the Eric Zane Show podcast. A daily show where I discuss news, nonsense, and my personal adventures from right here in the Impact Power Sports studio. Impact Power Sports online at impactpowersportsmi.com. Wow. So the eclipse came and went. That was great. I didn't expect it to be like overpowering in its scope. Just a nice, subtle darkening of the day. I saw a thing that said when there's totality, like you're in the area where the sun is completely blocked out, that you could actually look at it, but not for long. And you got to be careful because as soon as that little ray of sunlight peeks out, you don't want to be looking at it. Even a short little blast of that can hurt you. I think it was the sun is 400 times larger than the moon, but the sun is 400 times the distance. So it kind of just works out right. Had my glasses, looked up there, and I saw just a little bit of the sun being eaten by the moon there. Jimmy's here. He said he got to be part of totality. From where we were, we had 94% coverage. Jimmy writes, I played War Pigs. Great song. So when that happened, it didn't get nearly as dark as what you experienced, but it just kind of got a little bit dark. Enough that, like, the street lights came on. But outside, it didn't seem that dark. But once I got inside of the house for some reason, it was really dark. Like I had to turn on all the lights. Badger writes, meteorologist Ben Glaze can give you the details. Chris says, I used the glasses and I nerded out and showed people at work through a pinhole camera on paper. Yeah, I was shocked by how dark the house got. So I'm out there with Pooh Bear, and she goes, I'm going to take a picture of it with my phone. I go, I don't think you want to do that. I was reading that that's a bad deal. She goes, no, I've got a device that it'll take perfect pictures of, and I go, what? So it's basically the same thing that you put over your eyes, but you would just hold it over the phone, and then you take a picture. And so I did it, and it didn't work for shit. It was a total ripoff. It didn't do any goddamn thing. When it all got started, the NFK, he wanted in on that action about the eclipse. I almost said hurricane because Ashley just showed up here. Hurricane watch, be careful. Something's going to get fucked up. So the NFK and I go out, and I go, hey, you want a chair? He goes, yeah. So I get one of those chairs that you put by the campfire that comes into like a bag. And he kind of looks at it funny. And I should have known that he wasn't too thrilled with that chair because his leg strength only goes to a certain point. Like if you were doing a squat, and for him, when you're squatting, once his legs get to a certain point, and it's not that deep, there is no strength. So if you're in the hole of that chair, he's screwed. I don't know this. So he sits down. I was like, I wish you would tell me these things. It comes time to get up, and he just looks at me. And I go, oh. I go, here, let me help you. So I go under his arms and like I'm just going to lift him up with my legs. And he provides zero assistance. He has nothing. It was basically I'm lifting dead weight from an awkward spot. And as soon as I started to like, put it into third gear to get him out of the chair, I realized this is a bitch. I am not prepared for this. So then he goes back into the chair. I go, okay, all right, let's try it again. Try it from a different angle. And then I'm the only one providing power to get him up. And I go, what's up? He goes, it's too deep. I can't do it. I'm like, holy shit. So, all right. So I go under the arms, around the back. I'm facing him. So his face is in my belly. It looked like if the neighbors looked at us, it would look like he was sucking my dick. And so I go under, and then clasp around him. So I'm like this, okay? Let me show you. For those of you that are just listening to the audio podcast, I'm like this, and his head's right here where my dick is. And I start to I go wide stance like a power lifter. I'm like, oh. So the neighbors from behind me are watching me go, oh, yeah, oh. And then I go, you got to give me something, man. And so he comes up with a little bit of power, and I get him up. I go, that's the last time you're ever sitting in one of these chairs. Holy shit. God, I'm tired just reenacting it. That's only like 5 minutes into the eclipse. I'm fucked. I can't do this. Suggestions that we need an engine hoist. Turns out that there was a window strategically right in line with the sun from the house. He didn't have to even leave the house again. It was fucking great. Oh, man. That was a challenge. Joe Pellerito writes, good morning. Holy crap, Easy. Easy and I have the same exact outfit on today, down to the Adidas pants. Yeah, that's great, but, just keep in mind who your sibling is. Are you sure you're not starting to become like him? We can't have that. My little heart can only take so much. All right? I don't want it to be like an accident, wink, wink, and the next thing you're pulling in the driveway. How did two brothers become so different? That's what I want to know. My God. So, all the eclipse stuff going on, everything's good. Everybody's got their eyes. I was reading that there was a strong amount of people who may have looked a little bit too long and are going through a little bit of eye strain today. I'll admit that there was a couple times that when the glasses were on, I would really quick just peek to see what it's like when the sun is almost completely blocked out by the moon with just a tiny bit of it exposed. And it's still remarkably bright. And if you look at it for any more than a second, you're going to have some serious issues. Pin Pusher writes, easy. Did they fix your balls? My body did. I did get some advice from the doc that what I had was simply, I'm not making this up. I'm not trying. I mean, I can only tell you what exactly she told me. She said it's completely harmless, and I'm only going to tell you in EZ terms, not doctor terms. But she said to me, you have jizz in your bladder, and it causes that uncomfortable feeling. It will pass, and then that's it. And I'm like, well, I mean, this is horrible. If I ever have sex again, I don't want to have to go through this every single time. So we are reevaluating. That is because of the medicine known as Flomax. These little sphincters that are part of your plumbing are supposed to shut tight until it's time to go potty. Well, mine are gapey, like a Zaniac's vagina, like a former Zaniac's vagina. And because of that, I get a little bit of a blend in the fuel, you know, like a little water in the fuel tank. And you just don't want that. So I said, all right, well, we diagnosed it. Do you still need the scrotal scan? She says, yes, we still want a scan of your testicles and all that. We want to get an ultrasound. So that's what's going on. Linda asks, what? Are you Trump? Looking at the sun. Nick writes, I sunburnt my eyes with a welder. Feels like sand in your eyes for days. Did that just happen? Jimmy writes, another great story over breakfast. I'll be making food today at Bosco's Pub. If you want to come see me, do it. Be a nice day. Eat out on the patio, maybe. If it's nice enough, and away we go. Yeah, Pellerito. God, that is crazy. He is wearing the same shit. That is fantastic. You can see it. If you're watching the audio, listening to the audio podcast, obviously this isn't for you. All right. Want to share something with you that I promised I would get to. I spent the back half of the day yesterday producing a piece of content of some of my football commentary. Stand by. Gotta sneeze. From the West Michigan Ironman football game. So let's get to that. What do you say? This is streamed on Facebook. It's me and the coach, Mike Taylor. Mike Taylor, my play-by-play guy, he used to be an assistant football coach at both Western Michigan University and the University of Michigan. He knows quite a bit about football. He just kind of goes with it when I do what I do. Refs have to explain exactly how the coin toss works to the Toledo team. Team captain for Toledo, I'm not sure. And one of them out there right now is a real pork chop.
Scrambling to his right. Whoa! Stiff arms. Hey, he's up in the club. That's Carter for you. That's Alex Carter. 100% Carter.
Flies into the stands. Oh, my God. He sat right on that kid's face.
Frequent flyer miles by Alex.
Yeah, he was being chased by that child. Look at that child chasing him.
He jumped right up.
Look at that kid. That kid's like, oh my God, he sat on my face. It's true. Half that team was like tiny. The other team, the team in the green.
Oh no!
Fall on it. Oh! Oh my God!
I told you, man. He rolled the ball back to the quarterback.
Well, look at that again. What the hell?
This center snapped it to almost through the uprights.
Wow.
Almost over the crossbar,
What
Dave.
is embarrassing. Is this like a Make-A-Wish team or something?
What happened to the helmet here?
El Chapo. Oh, he's kicking his helmet. Oh.
Is that El Chapo?
Yeah, it is. That is Richard Villalpando, known as El Chapo. He's very upset at his helmet.
All their nicknames.
He kicked his helmet. I think he gave his helmet the finger. And then he told his helmet that the helmet was a whore.
Bad blood now.
How many grandkids you got there, Coach?
None that I know of.
None that you know of. Okay.
But I get cards on Father's Day.
Okay. All right. Yeah, coaches laid pipe all over Michigan.
Well, wow.
Oh, they're doing the kiss cam. Look at these. Look at these two. Oh, those two. Did you see those two hippies kissing? Was that two dudes?
They don't even know each other.
It looked like two dudes.
I hope they show you two.
Not that there's anything wrong with that. Dudes kiss all the time nowadays. They got to get them to do like an open mouth kiss. Or maybe like grind. Oh, there we go. Yes. I wonder if that chick kisses all the players. Everybody gets to kiss her. That's gross. You can get mono from that.
I guess my question, Zane, is when they sit down in the Shamrocks and they go over this game film, where do you start?
You start by throwing the footage into the grill and burn it. You just burn it. You just pretend it didn't happen. Oh, this song's making all the chicks horny. I feel bad for saying that because they're showing pictures of kids. That looked fun. We used to do those scooters in school, and then you get your finger ran over by one of the caster wheels. Black and blue for months. Definitely no finger banging. Oh, there you go. Couple homeless people get the ball.
Now, we might have enough time for the kickoff here, Zane, and that's going to wrap it up.
Oh, thank God. Thank God. Thank God it's over. Come on, kick it, you jerk. What are you waiting for?
Oh, no.
All right, there you go. So many questions. Chris writes, is this on the air? Well, it's broadcast on Facebook. First he says, is this in the arena or on the air? And then he realized he asked a dumb question. He says, dumb question. I can hear the arena announcer. Yeah, that's us doing the game. Chris says, where can we watch these live streams? This is good. Yeah, just go to the West Michigan Ironmen Facebook page. Rebecca says you're going to get those two guys kiss and beat up. I think it's missing a word. Does your broadcast partner think it's funny or hate you? He thinks it's funny. And I had people say to me, you're going to get fired. You're going to get fired. No, I'm not. Because while I'm doing it, the owners of the team are listening, drinking, and laughing. And they send me texts. They say, more, more. In fact, I posted that video yesterday, and the team shared it. Even though it said because I put NSFW on it. I don't want anybody to play my shit, at work and here I am talking about calling a helmet a whore, and this is making all the women horny, and there's kids, all that shit. I don't want that happening. So the Ironmen are all about it. This is no micromanaging. They basically have given me a blank slate and said, just fuck it. Just have fun with it. To me, the epitome was, or the most incredible thing was the time when I was telling you about the team from South Carolina was on there, and I was dogging the team so bad for being shitty. The owner of the team called our owner and said, Have that asshole shut up. Make sure that asshole shuts up or I'm pulling my team off the field. And then my guy comes up to me. He goes, fuck that bitch. Ugh. Love that job. Love it. Joe Spalding is going to join us in a minute. We'll talk why in a second. But first, folks on Facebook, X, and YouTube, it's time to say goodbye. Go to Twitch and get the rest of the show. Sign up for my Patreon. Patreon.com/Eric Zane, where this week it's a Big Fraud Saturday with Ben Glaze. We're going to start out the Big Fraud Saturday with Who Are These Free Beers, where we are getting a nice collection of free beer getting pissy with the audience who send him any type of dialogue that he's not happy with. Occasionally, people will send texts or whatnot to them, and it'll show up, and he drops whatever the hell he's doing and gets very annoyed and pissed off. I just got a tip today that he was, again, cranky. So we'll feature a couple of clips of free beer clapping back on Who Are These Free Beers, as he should, frankly, because I want him to so we can talk about it on this show. There you go. That's on my Patreon. Sign up free for 7 days. You sign up today, you can get a whole week's worth for free. You do have to put in a payment form, but cancel it right after. No big deal. I don't mind if you do that. I want you to do that. The point of this is to get you to try it. I don't want to trick you into paying for something. So sign up with a payment form, cancel it right after. And if you're like at the end of the 7 days, all right, yeah, I can. That's something to listen to. I can get behind that. Then just sign up again and then pay either $5 a month or $10 a month. $5 a month for the audio, $10 a month for the audio, the video, and the live streams. And participation on the Zoom for the Ben and Eric Patreon podcast. All there for you. Thank you for trying it out. And as always, you can download this audio podcast from what I'm doing right now. This becomes the audio podcast wherever you download shows. Facebook and Twitch, brought to you by Irvine's Auto Repair, Grand Rapids Hybrid and EV. X, brought to you by Blue Frost IT. If you've ever thought, hey, I'd like to sponsor the Eric Zane Show podcast, reach out to me on the Shoreliner Striping inbox. Eric at ericzaneshow.com. I can put you on the map, get you started, and yeah, it'll be awesome. Thank you so much for the interest. All right. Meanwhile, thanks to A&E Heating and Cooling, Joe Martinez and his crew working tirelessly, scheduling folks right now to get tuned up for the cooling season, your AC. Before you flip that thing on, you need to have Joe Martinez look at it. Costs you $79 for a AC tune-up. 616-516-8579. Call today, 616-516-8579. Impact Power Sports in beautiful Rockford, Michigan, along 14 Mile Road. Drop in and check out the selection. Please mention that EZ sent you. They sponsor the studio. They sponsor the podcast. They're awesome. Love that crew over there. Go to their website, impactpowersportsmi.com. Check out all the side-by-sides, the motorcycles that they have for you to have a lot of fun with this upcoming summer. Not to mention zero-turn mowers. They have Yamaha golf carts, Michigan's newest distributor of Yamaha golf carts. And, of course, a number of other things, too, including e-bikes and a full-service department at Impact Power Sports. Online at impactpowersportsmi.com. Thank you to Shawnee and Matt from Green Medicine Shop. They got a big 420 sale coming up. It starts on 4/19, Friday, 4/19. Green Medicine Shop is a medicinal cannabis facility in Greenville, Michigan. On Friday the 19th, and Saturday the 20th, they will have vendors there. Now, the vendors, they vend. They vend pot. All right? So whatever they vend, they want you to try. So what you're going to do is you're going to walk up and say, hey, vendor, how are you? And they're going to say, happy 420. And you're going to reach in and grab into the grab bag and get some free stuff to burn in your free time when you're at home, safe and sound. 70s themed disco party with a selfie station. How about that? Disco balls, fog machine, and they're all dressing up. So this is a big time. They're going with a 70s themed disco party for $419, $420. Prize wheel for anyone who spends $100 or more with fabulous cannabis and paraphernalia prizes to win. Raffle entry with any purchase to win $420 decor and merch. Free gift bag with a $25 purchase. So you spend $25, you get the gift bag. It's got edibles in it, pre-rolls, swag, and, tchotchkes, shit like that. Mystery boxes filled with a fun surprise selection of pre-rolls. $50 value. You just pay $24.20, and you get that mystery box. Okay? One-day specials including a pre-roll bundle. So you can get 30 pre-rolls for $60. 40% off our newest flower strain being released for $420. $10 concentrates, and many of the pre-rolls will be on special as well. So that's a lot over at Green Medicine Shop. They're ready to go. So you got 10 days to plan. Save the date, Friday, April 19, Saturday, April 20 at Green Medicine Shop. Make the trip up and support the sponsors. You do need a med card to get all this shit, but you go to their website, thegreenmedicineshop.com, get a med card there, costs $90. When you do it there, you get a $100 in-store credit. So that's awesome. Very cool. Thank you, Green Medicine Shop. All right. The latest out of beautiful Ottawa County. On your mark, get set, go. John Gibbs suing.
Administrator John Gibbs is suing his former county board in federal court just over a month after he was fired. News 8's Byron Tollefson joins us now from the WoodTV8.com digital studio with more.
Former County Administrator John Gibbs claims that the Board of Commissioners defamed.
What the fuck? This happens from time to time. I will be bringing in Joe Spalding to talk about this. But this is interesting because, again, this all comes and happens 1 year after they brought John Gibbs in to be the county administrator. They're like, you're the guy. He served on Trump's cabinet. Ottawa Impact is like, you've got impact. You're right wing. We love you. Well, as soon as Gibbs saw the way they did business, specifically the problems with the law firm that the county is associated with, and he started to just do his job, things broke bad for John Gibbs. And now
the WoodTV8.com digital studio with more.
Former County Administrator John Gibbs claims that the Board of Commissioners defamed him and violated his contract. Gibbs, a former Republican candidate for Michigan's 3rd Congressional District, was named county administrator when Ottawa Impact took over the Board of Commissioners last January. But by early this year, their relationship soured, reaching new lows when Chairman Joe Moss released a letter this February accusing Gibbs of threatening to physically harm a county lawyer, keeping a hidden camera in his office, and creating a hostile environment for employees, among other allegations. Gibbs has denied all of those. He is suing the board under Michigan's Whistleblower Protection Act, saying they retaliated against him after he raised concerns concerns about the county's corporate counsel, Common Legal Group. The board voted 10-1 to fire Gibbs in late February. Gibbs was making $210,000 a year. According to the lawsuit, his contract was not set to expire until January of 2026. Gibbs is also suing the board for a breach of contract, arguing the board terminated him without cause, as well as violating the Michigan defamation law. The lawsuit does not mention a specific amount of money. We have reached out to the county board's attorney for a response.
This is exceptional. This puts everything at a new level of drama, and we are here for it. Let's bring in contributor and I guess activist himself. Stand by. We welcome in Joe Spalding. Joe, how are you?
Pretty good, Big Fraud. How are you?
I'm doing well. You described this as the one of the biggest own goals since the 1994 World Cup.
Yeah, and I hope since Pablo Escobar is no longer around, no one has to die because of this one. But, it was a pretty big disaster, and we're now getting sued as a county for the 5th time by someone who is used to run the county.
Yeah, it was a pretty quick turnaround. And I think it's all. I think Gibbs has done a good job getting the story out there. I will give him that. When it comes to the publicity of this, right after he was let go, he was on TV and announced that he would be doing what he did yesterday, and that is file suit.
Yeah, and I mean it's all pretty insider baseball when it comes to campaign life. But one of the major media markets in Michigan is the Grand Rapids media market, and because Gibbs ran for Congress in Grand Rapids, he has the phone number of every producer and reporter, and he can just get on TV if he's got a story. And this is a story. He's suing not just the county, he's also suing Joe Moss for defamation. And my favorite part about that part of the lawsuit is that Joe Moss's case hinges on the believability of people like Benjamin Wetmore and Jordan Epperson, folks who have said some pretty Nazi stuff when it comes to Epperson, like abhorrent, just a crazy crap about women and minorities. And then we have Wetmore, who has done just absolutely unethical stuff involving trying to get people on video, in these sting operations with reporters involving his old buddy, James O'Keefe. So, they're just some of the 2 least believable people. And that's what Joe Moss's defense against defamation is going to hinge on some level.
In a way, I'm curious what is in the brain of the average Ottawa County voter. The people who show up and talk their crazy shit at the commission meetings. Because the reason why I wonder what it's like inside of their brain, because they really have to come to grips with the idea that a guy who's on a first name basis with Donald Trump, which should be great for them, is suing their own. I mean, who do they side with? It's really causing a bit of turmoil, I'm sure, for the average Ottawa County voter.
Yeah, I mean, and I think that the average voter is kind of changing, and who that is changing. But you're absolutely right when it comes to the folks that are, diehard MAGAs and they're supporting Donald Trump. It gets confusing when someone like John Gibbs does do this lawsuit, and then it's also confusing. You have Christina Caramo had been removed as the GOP chair of the statewide Republican Party and replaced with Peter Hoekstra, and Joe Moss was the person that nominated Christina Caramo. So they had Ottawa Impact had this plan of becoming a bigger statewide phenomenon. And that's kind of all just completely blown up in their face.
Yeah, it's really stopped in its tracks. It's really kind of just been halted quite quickly. And for a while, I think people like me and you and normal thinking people have been like, God damn it, this is terrible. They're not going to be stopped. But we didn't think for a second they would stop themselves, but it appears they have.
Yeah, and we're going to, time will tell, and we'll see, first on this May 7th election over here in Holland Township with Christian Kleinjans running against Lucy Ebel, and then we'll see again next November. But, I mean, this is the feeling that we have, is that they kind of have been, shot themselves in the foot enough times for this to come back on them. John Gibbs, he seemed like there were two moments in his tenure, if you read the lawsuit, that he felt like Ottawa Impact started turning on him and Joe Moss started turning on him. And one was a letter to the board about Coleman Legal Group. And it's hard to find fault in that because I've seen Jack Jordan, the Coleman Legal Group lawyer, on the fly research county law, while they're having a meeting. And it's like, why is our county attorney, who we're paying a lot of money, Googling basic county, law? And Gibbs correctly calls that out. And then the other thing that Gibbs calls out is when they tried to fire Adeline Hambly and they tried to pay her off $4 million, Gibbs is very clear that the board and Joe Moss specifically were extremely happy to get rid of her and pay her $4 million. And Gibbs is the one that told us that Joe Moss has this prayer circle group that he goes to at some point during the week, and they read him the riot act when they found out about that $4 million. And to me, some of the firing of Gibbs almost feels like not just a retaliation for him pushing back on the Coleman Legal Group, but also because Gibbs was part of that chorus, and this was the only way for Joe Moss to assert his authority over that prayer circle, or are the people that were saying that it's wrong to pay Adeline Hambly $4 million to leave. And so Joe Moss is just like, no, fine, at least I can get rid of Gibbs for saying that. Okay. And that's kind of part of it. That's a theory, but.
So the idea that Moss shows up for Bible study and the other people that are part of the group gave him the business?
Yeah, I'm sure he was uncomfortable, but that was my understanding from what John Gibbs said, was that the county commissioners went in there. They decided they were going to pay off Adeline Hambly. They were super happy that they're finally getting rid of the health director, which was something they've been trying to do for a year. And Joe Moss went to the prayer circle the next day, and all of the people that he thought were his friends were just pissed off as all hell because, yeah.
Oh my God, I can just imagine. I would to be a fly on the wall on that thing.
That is the one conversation I wish I could have heard that involves Joe Moss that I didn't.
Now, Chris in the chat asked, why did John Gibbs take the job initially? And I've actually heard Gibbs talk about that. He says, well, I believed in what they believed in. They had a lot of good things that made me that it seemed appealing. And he's talked about that extensively. And then he also said, but over time, things started to change, and it was because of the efforts of what he saw, the misguided adventures of the law firm. And all he was doing, according to him, is doing what the county administrator is supposed to do, doing his job. And
that's right. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, that's basically it. He was just doing his job. That's what he said, and then they didn't like that, and then one thing led to another.
Yeah, so fundamentally, you just got to understand who these people, what they're trying to do, and who they are, and what the perspective is. And Ottawa Impact comes into office, and this happens across the country in local government bodies when they get completely replaced by a new faction, and they're completely in the dark, right? So my easy example is back when we were running the petition to end gerrymandering in Michigan. We turned in the petition signatures, and we had built this petition program, and all these people were brand new volunteers, and they knew how to do petitions. They didn't know how to do a ballot initiative or they didn't know how to do a proper election campaign after that. And so everybody was kind of looking for a North Star of guidance because everyone felt like they were in a tunnel because they had never been in that space before. It was the same thing with Ottawa Impact when they came into office. And they were looking because they knew that they wanted to do things like get rid of DEI and get rid of the health director if they could and change who was running the county. They didn't know how to navigate the circumstances of the law, and Coleman Legal Group felt like a torch in the darkness to them. Okay. So Sylvia Rohde just latched right on, and Joe Moss did too. And Coleman played the role as best they could. And so that's like trying to ask somebody in a pitch black cave to give up their torch is what John Gibbs did when he wrote that letter.
So if they had a more pragmatic approach to the law and who was executing it, let's say that instead of hiring Coleman, they hired a team that was very versed in county law and then allowed Gibbs to do his job, they probably wouldn't be in near as much trouble as they are right now.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's pretty correct. And if you take Gibbs at his word, when he sounded the most honest, and it sounded very stressed out when he was in the hot seat in the chair running the county, he would say things like, "I don't want," like when he hired Epperson, "I don't want to make a spectacle out of it." Well, he doesn't have the sense to know that that's impossible to keep in that toothpaste to keep in the tube at the time.
Yeah.
But he clearly had the desire not to have everything out in the open and be a nuclear disaster in public, which is a decent public relations instinct.
Do you remember the one commission meeting when you spoke like in person, and then after that you also spoke through the Zoom? Like you did the in person at the first part of the meeting, and then I don't know if you went home and talked through your computer or did it like through your phone. But they said, "All right, does anybody have anything to say online?" As it is Joe Spalding, and then your mic was unmuted and it wasn't supposed to be, and you said, "John Gibbs, unmute me, you coward," or I guess he blocked you on Twitter or something like that.
Oh yeah, no, they didn't, and they didn't unmute me at the time. So going in person and showing up afterwards is it's not a super like effective thing at moving any type of needle, but it is a tactic to make sure that the county commission or the city council that you're talking to is on their toes. And the other thing about this is the online participation for public comment only happens at the back end of the meeting anyway.
Yeah.
So if you want to give two public comments, you either have to be there for the whole meeting, or you can show up at the start of the meeting, give public comment, go do some stuff while they're running circles around themselves for a couple hours, keep an eye on YouTube, and then join in like when the second starts, just to make sure you're not wasting your day because they're wasting our county time.
You know, there's always been some type of craziness going on. You have this. Bender Bones is going to do the invocation in a couple of weeks. I forget the exact date. I mean, that's
23rd.
Also the 23rd. So that would be, that's like 2 weeks from today, I believe. So that'll be something.
I believe it's the 6:30 p.m. meeting.
And you haven't met him yet, have you?
He and I have never spoken. I'm happy to talk to him at the meeting.
You're going to love him. So. He's fantastic. So there's that aspect of it. I mean, do these meetings, do they still take on the level of insanity that they had in the past? Because it's been a while since I've paid attention to one.
Yes, and it comes in different ways, and I you know that from watching before. Sometimes it's people saying objectively crazy things. This morning, a woman came and said she used to work for the county, and that when they're talking about the county finances, she said something about our insurance coverage costing the exact same amount, which Joe Moss was bragging about. But the thing that he left out is that our coverage got cut in half from and so like that's almost heartbreaking if you care about the budget. And but this brand new news, and that was just like, wow, I had no idea anything like that was going on. And she's like talking about coming clean and not being able, or with a clean conscience and not being able to not talk about it anymore. And I'm just like, wow, that's really a lot of money that we're on the hook for if these guys do anything bad, and they're getting sued for a fifth time right now.
I wonder if that will be part of any news coverage, the fact that that this whistleblower spoke. I mean, that right there is a story in and of itself.
Yeah, but it feels a lot like it reminds me a lot like parts of the time when Trump was president, and he would say or like do something absolutely crazy, and then the next 2 days later you do something even worse. And so the first thing, like, people forget that he made fun of a disabled person. People forget that he called pretty much every Mexican a rapist, because whatever. People forget that Trump. Oh, this is I'm sorry, I don't want to go off on anti-Trump shit.
It's all right. It's all right.
The guy gave out checks, right? Like the stimulus checks. And he made sure, I think this is Steve Mnuchin's idea. He made sure that Donald Trump's signature was on every stimulus check that every American got. And I shit you not, today, if you ask Donald Trump about loan forgiveness for college students, he'll be like, oh, Joe Biden's just trying to buy votes. Regardless of how you feel about those loan forgiveness, no one's getting a fucking check in the mail with the president's signature on it.
Shit. Aram has a question. He writes, how can Ottawa Impact get away with filling pockets of their lawyer friends and dismantling the county health services. And I think that's kind of been brought about, and that question has been asked. And I don't think there's an answer, and I don't know if they're going to get away with it.
Well, in here, I hope they don't get away with it. Like everyone, I think, like a decent person hopes they don't get away with it. The thing is, like, if we want to have effective county government, effective local government, like power's got to rest somewhere. And the stuff that happens at the local level, like if we have really decent and competent people in charge, like we have had in the past, we get a AAA bond rating, and all the money that we get for providing services and infrastructure in our county is super cheap for us. And then we get good services and infrastructure in the county. I mean, but like, I think that the thing that we realize, and it's unique to Ottawa County, is we understand long-term vision and investment. So we know that if this is fucking up as bad as it is right now, and we see the budget numbers, we know in real terms that leads to real-world struggle if we don't get our act together and we fix this. Down the line.
Joe Spalding, did you look at the eclipse yesterday?
My dad had a welding mask. I use a welding mask. Took a good look from West Michigan over here. I didn't drive 4 hours to see it. All my friends that did tell me that I wish I did, but that's like, they're a little biased.
Yeah, I think that's pretty cool. I wanted to, but once you get down to the day of, I'm like, screw it. But I'm still pretty cool.
I'll catch it when I'm 60, the next one.
Hey, I appreciate you very much. Best of luck over there. And again, you're doing an amazing job. People love you.
Yeah, and good job to you, Big Fraud, up there, getting up on the radio and all the sports stuff. Love seeing all the work you're doing. So,
all right, man. I'll talk to you soon.
Yep, bye.
There you go. That is Joe Spalding. Cole writes, this guy makes a good point. Biden ain't writing us checks. Vote for Trump. Aram says, isn't there sufficient reason to perform an audit of Moss to see if he has been receiving kickbacks from the law firm? I would say yes. And maybe that will happen. Maybe that is in the cards. Joe Pellerito writes, I'm not religious, but I'd take Christian rationalism over Christian nationalism. I prefer the building a wall between church and government. Oh, yeah, without a doubt. Chris says, have you noticed anyone changing their minds on things? This is a mess. Yeah, it's kind of like what we touched on earlier in the thing. That's the battle that the average Ottawa Impact bumblefuck has to have in their own brain. Tyler says, I love that he calls you Big Fraud, LOL. So as do I. That is a nickname that is here to stay. I've kind of established two new nicknames. More often than not now, people refer to me as either Big Fraud or EZ. JC from Q100 is the one who started calling me EZ. And I'm like, all right, if that's what you want to call me. So I've been saying it. And then the radio station has a bunch of people with J's in their name. There's JC, there's JJ, and there's J-Bo. J-Bo used to be part of a band called the Billman Brothers. I don't know if you've heard of the Billman Brothers. I had not. Bihlman. Anyway, J-Bo Billman, which sounds like a character from The Hobbit. And then, of course, Joe Mama, JJ, JC, J-Bo, Joe Mama, EZ. And JJ has been calling me Easy E now. Molly says, I like EZ. I do too. I like anything, really. Most people, prior to starting to use these monikers, would always refer to me as Zane, which is cool too. I don't care. Rarely do people actually call me Eric. That is a brief history of my names. All right. As I detailed with you just yesterday, I've been having some Kenny back problems. And I think I just found out, you may have noticed it during that interview, a way to stretch out my back. And it's that. And that is bringing incredible relief. Oh, my God. Chris says, easy rhymes. Yeah, easy rhymes with my back. Theragun, that punto. Yeah, I should get myself a Theragun. That would be badass. All right. Thank you to Joe Spalding again. I appreciate his time. When it comes to cleaning up the house or the sidewalk or the boat or the camper or whatever the hell, think about hiring Throat/Dale. Superior Cleaning and Power Washing. Call Dale today, 231-740-4098. That's 231-740-4098. Schedule Dale today. I had people reach out and said, whatever happened to Smarter Than a Former Drug Dealer trivia? I gave it a rest, and now I'm having a hard time figuring out where I can put it. It will make an appearance again. I can promise you that. Thank you to Blue Frost IT, the managed IT service provider for the podcast. Call them at 616-200-8550. If you want any type of IT support, 616-200-8550 for Blue Frost IT. Speaking of the Theragun, you can find it on my Vouch store. Vouch.store/Eric Zane. Vouch merges creators with small business. The Campcraft cocktails, the dog treats, the dog food, the dog supplements, the toothbrushes, the coffee, all there for you to purchase. Support small business and support me because I get a small percentage of everything that is purchased on the Vouch store. Vouch.store/Eric Zane. I'm going to try to get Billy Simonson on the air here.
Your call did not go through.
Come on. Text message. Call me. Period. I want to put you on the podcast to talk about the eclipse and my amazing color commentary with the indoor football team. I guess Bill was on the air yesterday and spent a significant amount of time attacking people who were interested in the eclipse. That sounds like something he would say. Busting balls over the eclipse. I don't understand what there is to bust balls about. It's a celestial moment that is very rare. Up north, Justin says, good morning, EZ. Just getting ready to head to the Upper Peninsula for a 2-day water class. Up north, Justin is, we talked about him yesterday, and he was on the Ben and Eric Patreon podcast talking about the pigs, his kids doing 4-H. Up north, Justin is, I think, a guy that I would be like. I would be like, if I didn't do radio, I think I would have eventually have been like one of these guys that is a tradesman, like Nick or Justin. These people that tie in to the trade system where they like learn skills from experts and get paid while they're learning and just keep adding different things to their skill set. Maybe pipe fitting, running heavy equipment, electrician, just like picking these things up like quivers or arrows in a quiver and just unbelievable marketability. And then they retire at like 54. And they've never hired anybody to do anything because they get it all done themselves because they have the fucking skills. I fucking love that. Jesus. Anyway, he's up north to learn something new. What is it? Pipe fitting? Water pipe repair or some shit? Welding, maybe? I don't know. You handy audience members who establish a pedigree in the trades. I fucking love that. There is really something to be said about a person who just goes right from high school to into the trades. Learning as you're working, earning as you're learning, accumulating zero debt along the way. I'm proud of you. I'm proud of anybody who succeeds in anything. You know, whether that be your education, whether that be motherhood or fatherhood or doing well at your career field, trades, education, things like that. Good group here. Good group. All right. I'm going to take a break, and I'll come back with more. Got a lot to talk about today, and I appreciate you. I'll be right back. Cow fade. All right. Whew. Meanwhile, not everything was great concerning the eclipse. A woman checked out of a Florida hotel and announced to the staff that the solar eclipse was motivating her to do something. That the solar eclipse was a sign that she was waiting on. And so, like, she walks out of the hotel room and you got the lady who's putting the cookies in the lobby. Maybe somebody's setting up the whole breakfast deal with the waffle maker. You pour the shit in there, the batter, and then you close the thing, and then you wait like 5 hours and the waffle comes out done. The same place where people walk up to where the sausage is and they got their plate. They open up the thing and all the sausage is gone, so they just leave the plate right there all pissed off. Over where the juice comes out, a bunch of cups because the juice is empty. All the workers hate their lives. The garbage is overflowing. Kids are going ape shit. She's out in the lobby and she says that she says, I'm going on a God-directed shooting spree because of the solar eclipse. People in the hotel room are looking at her. This is Bonifay, Florida. Taylin Nichelle Celestine, 22-year-old woman from Georgia. Next thing you know, she is merging onto Highway 115. I'm merging onto the highway 115 miles from the border of Alabama in the Florida Panhandle and headed west. 5 miles into her trip, she fired a weapon into a passing car several times. So the guy's just sitting there driving. All of a sudden, his window explodes. He gets hit by one of the bullets. She then approached another car. Same thing. Shot into the car. The driver got hit in the neck. Amazingly, no one died. Troopers stopped the woman after she drove for about 16 miles, and they found her with an AR-15 and 9mm handgun. She was arrested and booked into the jail, charged with attempted murder, aggravated battery with a deadly weapon, and improper discharge of a firearm. Holy shit. Cops didn't provide any other details about it, but this happened. That's yesterday. My God. Just imagine you're just driving down the road and all of a sudden you're shot. It just goes to show you. I mean, random people. Anybody could be taken out in a moment's notice. The idea is head on a swivel. You know, you never know. Like when I am at a light and it's red and it turns green, every time it is burned into my brain, and I don't know how it happened. I look right and I look left and then I go. Because what I'm doing there is guaranteeing that if someone is running the light, I will not be broadsided. I will not be T-boned. I'm the same way whenever anyone is around me. Like if I'm driving and people are near me, like if I'm in the right lane and they're passing me on the left, but they're not passing me very fast, they're passing me slowly, I let off the gas. Let them go. I don't want anyone around me when I'm in a vehicle. I don't want anyone around me when I'm walking around, when I'm at the store. I'm all about space. To me, the key to happiness is I can see you, but you're far away. I don't want anyone around me, no strangers, just keep your distance. And it's not you, it's me. And you don't have to worry about me. You don't have to put distance because I'll get it myself. God damn. I think that's a key to living a long life, to avoid any type of oddness to happen. Putting yourself in the best chance for survival. I'm not saying that these people had it coming. I'm just saying I am always fearful about everyone else. I can't stand to be around people. Nick writes, always keep a car length and stop traffic so you can bust out left or right if needed. Fuck yes. That's a great tip. And I am king distance between me and the car in front of me. Oh, my God. The best thing in the world on my wife's car is when you have the cruise on, it automatically puts you at an appropriate distance. Like if you have the cruise on and you've got like 4 car lengths between you and the guy, like the closest you can get would be like 4 car lengths, you know? And you can even make it more. You can like make it 8 and 12 if you want. But I typically make it like 4 or 5 car lengths. And if they start to slow down and it's cruising, my car will slow down. If they come to a stop on the freeway, my car will stop on the freeway with that same distance between that car and me. And if the cruise is still on, if they take off, my car will take off. All I have to do literally is hold the fucking steering wheel, which makes it really easy to look at the internet when I'm driving. Because my hands are on the wheel. But if I'm looking down, reading an article, it'll stop. If the guy in front of me starts to stop, it's fucking fantastic. Probably not a great idea. Anyway, that is just unbelievable. Crazy bitch. You never know what type of crazed psychopath is out there in the wild. The next person to take somebody out. Jessica is here, who I think I remember Jessica last week. I think she is. Wasn't Jessica from a foreign land? Can someone remind me what Jessica in the chat? What was significant? I know she was new. The UK, that's right. Yes. Oh, my God. So cool of you to join us. Do me a favor. Send me an email I want to say hi. I talk about this all the time when there's new people. I like to get to know these people. Jessica says, did I not leave an impression? Well, yeah, I said you're from a faraway land. What do you want? That's pretty good. There's a lot of people that I interact with. Everybody else remembered except for me. My God, I'm so bad. I'm so sorry. Anyway, she says she's just popping in for a second. And so you have a great rest of your day. All right. I always sit up a little taller in my chair when there's a new audience member. I don't know if you've ever heard, I've never heard of this, but the country of Chechnya, which is, I think, under Russian rule, they are banning certain songs because of the tempo. Like the songs that they mention as won't be allowed to be played anywhere. Like the culture minister of Chechnya is Musa Dadayev. And is saying from now on, all musical, vocal, and choreographic works will be subject to a tempo limit. The region's culture ministry said in a Telegram post. Musa Dadayev was quoted as saying, any songs that are to be played, enjoyed on the radio, listened to personally, must be between 80 and 116 beats per minute. Anything less than that is banned. Anything more than that is banned. Tell me you live in a fucked up country without telling me you live in a fucked up country. This is one of those stories that makes you go, yeah, you know, I mean, we hear all the time about the things that make the U.S. questionable, or even the U.K. In the case of Jessica, people are like, oh, boy, man, this country's fucked up. It's going downhill fast. Oh, it's terrible. Yeah, count your blessings that you don't live in this disaster country like Chechnya, where the government is telling you what songs can be played based on tempo. It was unclear how the limits would be enforced, but it will rule out much of the modern pop pantheon. Taylor Swift's Shake It Off and Cruel Summer are out, as are Beyonce's Single Ladies and Run the World. However, Anti-Hero and Texas Hold'em would just about make the grade. That Beyonce song, that Single Ladies, that is a fantastic song. I love it. And I love it when people dance to it. Like when they play it at the hockey games and all the chicks lose their mind. For some reason, because of the tempo and that song, it can make even the most gruesome looking woman look attractive somehow. I don't know how it's possible. I will also say, conversely, that song Texas Hold'em by Beyonce is an absolute pile of shit. That song is an abortion. I hate that song. Everybody loves that song. I do not like Beyonce's Texas Hold'em. I think it's garbage. The Beatles' Hey Jude would be too slow in Chechnya, as would the Russian national anthem, which is usually played at 76 beats per minute. Chechnya's culture ministry says it has been carrying out a huge amount of work on the issue of compliance of Chechen musical, vocal, and choreographic compositions with the quote-unquote Chechen mentality. Can you imagine living in a country where this is given even 1 second of time or concern over? I mean, we come from a country where we can play 2 Live Crew, Me So Horny. Can you imagine if you busted out Me So Horny by 2 Live Crew in Chechnya? Quote unquote, the musical culture of the Chechens was diverse in tempo and methodology. Dadiev was quoted as saying, "We must bring to the people and to the future of our children the cultural heritage of the Chechen people." What a shit show. This includes the customs and traditions and features of the Chechen character, which includes the entire spectrum of moral and ethical standards of life of the Chechens, he added. Like, if you take a look at this image right here, this Chechen dude and this Chechen lady, she's wearing traditional gear. Chechnya is a Muslim nation, by the way. So it's all a bunch of terrorists, is what I'm telling you. I'm kidding. But anyway, all these guys here, these are all Muslims, and all they want to do is kick ass because these two are listening to single ladies. My God. No, honestly, though, it is a Muslim nation. Conservative Muslim majority republic in the North Caucasus has remained part of Russia after it waged 2 brutal wars for independence in the late 90s and early 2000s. So they fought with Mother Russia, trying to get out from under them, and lost. The Culture Ministry's Telegram post added that the beats per minute limits had been approved by Chechen President Ramzan Kadyrov, who has maintained a tight grip on power on the republic since he became president in 2007. He is also a big supporter of Putin. Critics have accused the Kremlin of letting Kadyrov get away with corruption, rights violations against women, and repressions against members of the LGBTQ community. Yeah. If you're living in a country where they're telling you what music you can live in, I'm guessing that they're going to be pretty oppressive in a lot of the other things that were mentioned right there. Yeah. Forget LGBTQ plus equality. These fuckers can't even listen to Beyonce single ladies. This is remarkable. Ladies and gentlemen, there is Gypsy Rose news to report. Now, I can't believe I missed this, but at the end of March, Gypsy Rose announced she's filed for divorce from that guy that married her when she was in prison. Ryan Anderson is his name. Yeah, I remember after she got it out of prison for killing her mom, that people were busting Ryan Anderson's balls because he looks like kind of a dork or some shit, you know? And she was quick to defend him. She like rushed in as like a white knight, and she actually said on one of the posts, one of the Twitter posts, let them talk their talk, Ryan. Just keep giving me the D or something like that. I mean, she was like way aggressive about it, which, I mean, that's pretty cool. I can get behind that. You know, wife saying that about her husband. And yeah, hey, you know what? They can make fun of you all you want, but just keep plowing. I mean, I think that's a baller move right there. Even if she does look like one of the goons from the old Popeye cartoons. But it's not working out. I mean, she's only been out of prison for a handful of months, and she's already filed for divorce from this dork. Yeah, that's just remarkable. They got married like a couple of years before she got out of prison. Of course, Gypsy Rose had that crazy fucking mother who, in one of the worst stories ever, the mom convinced everybody that the kid was sick in order to get like money and, free shit from people who were helping her take care of her so-called sick kid. And the kid was fine. There was nothing wrong with the kid. That's called something. I think it's called like Munchausen by proxy. Well, then Gypsy Rose ended up meeting some guy online, and they kind of figured out what was up. And Gypsy told the kid to come to her house, and like he killed the mom, which, kind of had to happen. It was weird because Gypsy Rose got some prison time, and she was out after like 7 years. But the guy is like still in prison. She totally used that guy to break free from her mother, which frankly, I think they both shouldn't have any charges. I mean, she was abused by that lady. That's what Molly's saying. She says, I feel bad for her ex, Nick. She manipulated him. No, he shouldn't be free, but he should be able to get out at some point with help. Yeah, I'm kind of with you. I don't know. I mean, and when she got out of prison, immediately she had a massive following on social media. And like she's doing interviews, she's making bank. A big deal. And then she's out with her husband, they're like doing the town. They're on every TV show. Well, it's over now. Gypsy filed for divorce yesterday. According to the TMZ story, everything is from her side. We don't know the exact details of what she's asking for just yet, but we do know she's filed and that it's registered in the system. At first, she announced a split from Ryan in a private Facebook announcement, where she shared she was moving back in with her dad and stepmom. Oh, God, I would hate that. Can you imagine the stepmom with Gypsy Rose showing up there? This murdering woman. First thing I do is get a deadbolt lock for the bedroom door and home defense shotgun, maybe a sawed-off. Keep that handy. The split came only 3 months after she was released from prison. I'm guessing what went down here is Gypsy Rose met someone else. When you're in prison, all right, and you look like shit in prison, and this fat ass comes out of the woodwork and says, you know how it is in prison. Oftentimes people who are in prison and famous, they end up hooking up with someone. So that's probably what happened with this Ryan dude. And I bet after she got out of prison, she encountered some fresh dick. As TMZ previously reported, sources say Gypsy claims that Ryan got super argumentative following her prison release, which left her feeling low. Their issues were obviously enough for her to call it quits, and now Gypsy's throwing in the towel for good. And then it says she has since spent quality time with her ex-fiance, Ken Urker, as the former Flames met up. See, that's just what I was talking about. Look it. This is Gypsy right here. That's her and Ken. She looks reasonably cute right there. Good from afar, but far from good. I mean, she still has that Larry Holmes nose, which is a little rough, but this is definitely an upgrade. I mean, she was with that fat piece of fuck, and now she's with this dude who looks like he's a baller. She's got cute feet, and I'm all about that. See if we can get a shot of Gypsy's feet here. I can't. So really bizarre. What a bizarre set of circumstances. Molly says that Ryan, that fat ass, seemed controlling. Well, yeah, I agree. You know, I mean, and she probably realized once she got out of prison and felt like, you know, he was starting to latch on in a weird way. Then, you know, this is Gypsy Rose Blanchard. You know, she can't get any guy, but she can definitely do better than that guy who looks like mashed potatoes. Fuck that shit. I feel like she moved too fast with everything. Well, yeah, maybe so, but don't forget, she's been with that guy for more than 2 years, that Ryan dude. All right. So there you go. That's the update on Gypsy Rose. So, like, for her career, is there ever going to be a time when she has to, like, enter the workforce, or is she just going to be Gypsy Rose Blanchard forever? Is that what she's going to do for like a life? Because she might be able to. I think she needs some type of outlet, though. Maybe she's already done this. Some type of like, I know it sounds ridiculous, but a content creator. She could be like a murder expert or something like that. You know, oh, well, yeah, I would have done it this way. Yeah, what you got to do is because if you remember when the dude, Nick, slaughtered her mother, it's known that Gypsy Rose and Nick then porked in the other room while mom bled out. Like they would have sex. They had sex. So she is really, really fucked up. And the mom did that. This is what you do. This is how you fuck up a kid. Think about how terrible of a life that was. What had to happen to make you murder your mom and then have sex with some dude that just murdered your mother? My God. So she goes to prison for 7 years, resets, comes out good as new, fresh as a daisy. The dude, Ryan, and then, all right, kicks him to the curb. And then this guy now. And this dude looks like a reasonably normal guy. I mean, he doesn't look fucked up. Like Ryan looked fucked up. Ben Glaze says, I'm subscribed to her OnlyFans. I don't know if she has an OnlyFans. I think you might be full of shit there, Ben. Chris says true crime weirdos will pay her to speak. Yeah, and boy, there are a lot of true crime weirdos. That whole genre of podcasts and shows like that has created a whole culture of these weirdos. I mean, I like the occasional true crime story, but people who really get into them, they just love it. Ben adds, the OnlyFans is called Gypsy Toes, and it's just feet stuff. You asshole. Don't forget to review your free beer and hot wings. All right. Speaking of prison and the legal system, there is a guy in Missouri by the name of Brian Dorsey. Here he is right here. Looks to be a normal dude. Well, he's a psychopath. He's a murderer, and he's about to be put to death in Missouri. 70 of the employees at the jail that he's incarcerated at, including the previous warden of the jail, have written letters to the clemency board in Missouri and said, spare his life. Family members, cousins of the deceased that he murdered, and I'll fill in the details on this in a second, have written the clemency board and said, spare his life. So I saw this, and I'm like, well, I got to know what's going on here. Clearly, there's a glaring problem that is warranting that this man's life be spared. You know, maybe like a revelation, final minute or final hour bit of information that casts some doubt on the execution. My God, that's some drama. I'm all about it. So I delved into the story. The governor of Missouri, Mike Parson, who's a Republican, I don't know why I'm adding that. It just says R next to his name, ended up denying the last-minute attempt to stay the execution of Brian Dorsey, 52-year-old man convicted in the 2006 double murder of his cousin and her husband. Turns out his cousin and her husband were laying in bed, and he walked in, grabbed a gun that they had in the room, and killed them. It was a shotgun, shot them dead in their own bed. He owed money to some drug dealers for crack. So he then stole a bunch of shit to sell and then pay the drug dealers off. That's it. Governor said, the pain Dorsey brought to others can never be rectified, but carrying out Dorsey's sentence according to Missouri law and the court's order will deliver justice and provide closure, the governor said in a news release. The only reason why I'm telling you a story is because I cannot figure out why all these people said, yeah, we need to spare this guy's life. I mean, they say it. They say why, but it's ridiculous. Dorsey's legal team and the supporters that I mentioned had argued it would be wrong to execute Dorsey because he had been he's rehabilitated since he's been in prison. He's a nice guy now. Literally, they're saying because he's rehabilitated. Well, why the fuck do we even have trials then? Of course he's rehabilitated. He's about to be put to death. It's important that this guy is put to death so that the death sentence can be some type of deterrent. Can you imagine if they just said, well, yeah, it seems like he's a nice guy now. We're going to stay the execution. Governor Parson has chosen to ignore the wealth of information before him, showing that Brian Dorsey is uniquely deserving of mercy, wrote Dorsey's attorney, Megan Crane. The facts. He's being scheduled at 6 p.m. today, local time, which might be like 7 p.m. here. O'Neill's having a dream. If you hear him going, hold on. He's having a dream. He's sound asleep. His legs are moving like he's running. I've got the mic up really high. That's why I'm whispering.
You okay, big fella?
He's looking at me like, what? What happened? All right. Anyway, back to the story. Family members argued both for and against Dorsey's clemency. A statement from the deceased side of the family argued Dorsey should never receive a reprieve because the couple's daughter never knew her parents. Meanwhile, the cousins are saying, yeah, he's cool. He killed the couple. As I indicated, drug dealers were threatening him to collect on a drug debt. So that was his plan. He was in a psychotic state from not sleeping for 72 hours while on a crack bender. They left behind a 4-year-old daughter. He took a cell phone, jewelry, 2 firearms, and a copy of Bambi 2 that belonged to the daughter of belonged to the 4-year-old. What the fuck? He took how could it be that in order to pay the drug debt, he went with Bambi 2? Was that like the final thing to put him over the top, the last $10 of the debt? When he learned police were looking for him, he turned himself in and cooperated. Concerns with the case. First, they said that Dorsey received ineffective counsel. The trial attorneys conducted no investigation. He pled guilty. His current attorneys wrote, adding that the trial attorneys obtained nothing from Mr. Dorsey to get in exchange for his guilty plea. So he basically pled guilty, and they threw the book at him. Typically, if you were to plead guilty, that's what the argument is being made. They say the original attorneys did not disclose that Dorsey was in a drug-induced psychosis. The current attorneys argue that part of the reason may be financial. The trial attorneys received a flat fee of $12,000, which they're like, oh, fuck. I'm not going to affect my overhead. I'm not going to invest this. The bigger picture. Dorsey was diagnosed with major depression disorder when he was young. This is the usual thing, the sob story of why his life should be spared. And supporters are saying, yeah, he's been a great inmate. He's a prison barber. His behavior is reported as exceptional. So they're basically basing this on, he's been a good guy. Brian has spent every day of his time in prison trying to make amends for his crime. Look, I'll tell you this. If I'm a family member and someone kills my family, and then they go out of their way to be nice to everyone in prison in hopes of getting clemency, don't you dare fall for that. Fucking A, I'd want to kill him myself if he wasn't actually put to death. What's the point of even having a death penalty if all you have to do is be nice to people when you're in prison? This is ridiculous. What a ridiculous story. Well, anyway, he's got a handful of hours, and I don't think he's going to be saved. And he shouldn't be saved. Fuck this guy. I don't give a shit how nice you are. You killed 2 people. All right. Thanks as always to my friends at Frank Fuss, My Policy Shop Insurance Company. Everything you need is at buyinsurancehere.com. That's buyinsurancehere.com. Frank can help you out with everything concerning your retirement, Social Security, Medicare, any type of insurance. Go to buyinsurancehere.com. Tag Accounting, the accountant of the Eric Zane Show podcast. 616-301-9516. Still time anywhere in the U.S. to call upon Tag Accounting today. 616-301-9516. Finally, the Mario Flores Lakeshore team of Van Dyke Mortgage invites you to reach out to Mario when it comes time to check out what he can do for you when it comes to getting a mortgage. 231-332-6505. Thank you for calling upon all of my sponsors. The country of Switzerland Oh, boy, this is so fucked up. There's a class action lawsuit brought by 2,000 women. I don't know why it's gender specific. I'm not sure. "2,000 women filed a civil rights lawsuit against the country of Switzerland. The court is ruling in their favor. I'll tell you why in a second, what they're ruling on. The court ruling, the International Court in France, ruling on this in favor of 2,000 women, more than 2,000 women in a lawsuit, opens the door for other international trials like this. I don't quite understand the process of how you can file suit against a country and have your case heard in an international trial. I mean, my God, here in the U.S., for years, cases go on over very small things. This seems remarkable to me. The majority of the women in their 70s have argued successfully because the international court has ruled in their favor that Switzerland hasn't done enough to slow down climate change, and saying that climate change fueled heat waves have affected their quality of life and put them at risk of dying. Now, I'm going to need some proof on that. I mean, if I'm in the international court, if I'm the ones making the decision and saying, yes, guilty, Switzerland, I mean, I'm going to need to see some lakes of fire and people going outside and just dropping dead. That's how in the world can you possibly prove that? The court has ruled that the Swiss government had violated some of these women's human rights due to critical gaps in its national legislation to reduce planet heating emissions, as well as a failure to meet past climate targets. So basically, a lot of big brain people, supposedly, accuse the government of maybe doing a good job for a period of time and then not, and then picking it up and doing the gaps, the critical gaps. And because they had set climate targets, I think if you were to look at the overall temperature of the planet and specific locations, it's getting warmer. So countries like Switzerland may have had goals like, less than this amount of an increase, and then they missed the goal. So that, I guess, opened up the door to an international lawsuit. And what this does, it's now going to make it for other countries to do the same thing. This is like Greta Thunberg stuff, I think this is all very hypocritical because, everything that we do, everything that we have, in some way, shape, or form, leads to things being made in a way that emissions are produced. Whether it's the furniture you have, the home that you have, the car that you drive, the food that you eat. Everything that we do as human beings is reliant on the planet being used. About the only way we're not going to cause any increase in greenhouse gases that raise the temperature is we all take off our clothes and stand outside and do nothing. For the betterment of the quality of life of the planet, we need to move and build shit. So what the fuck are you talking about? What type of country do they live in Switzerland, that they expect that to work? And what's up with the international court saying, we agree with you? That's the dumbest fucking thing I've ever heard in my life. Quote, today's rulings against Switzerland sets a historic precedent that applies to all European countries, said Jerry Liston, a lawyer at Global Legal Action Network, which supported the case. It means that all European countries must urgently revise their targets so that they are science-based and aligned to 1.5 degrees. This is a massive win for all generations. I tell you what, I don't know if we are doing that. Are we doing that? Are we part of this? I mean, we're not part of Europe, but does the U.S. have goals like that? I mean, I don't really follow it because I'm not really part of this mindset, you know? I drive a fucking RV that gets about 4 miles to the gallon, goddammit, and I'll be damned if I'm not going to do that. So I think I'm part of the problem, but fuck it. I want to camp. The ruling could also force Switzerland to reduce its consumption of fossil fuels more rapidly. Fossil fuels are the main driver of human-caused climate change. Well, there you go. CNN has reached out to the Swiss government for comment. I mean, what's the penalty? What do they have to pay now because the temperature isn't right? Look, I am all about, well, I'm speaking out both sides of my mouth. I want the planet to live. I do. But I don't want the planet to live if it means I have to give up what I'm doing right now. Either we come up with something else that doesn't interfere or get in the way of what I'm doing, or we're just going to keep using the planet the way we are, and that's the end of it. Fuck it. And people say, how can you do that for your grandkids? I don't know, but I am. Fuck that. I'm cold now. I got to get up north and get by the campfire. Fuck you. This is bullshit. Molly says we'll go back. It'll have to go back to the Stone Age. Joe Pellerito says, asshole of the day, Easy's RV for only getting 4 miles to the gallon and killing the planet. All right. Well, anyway, that's bullshit. That's one of the things about Trump and Biden. We're already seeing this. Trump is starting to make the EV thing as one of his what do you call it? Talking points to get reelected. This whole moving to EVs, which I do not support that. And the only reason why I don't support it is because it's impossible. Okay? They're going to try. You can try. I don't care if you try. I don't care if you make EVs. I don't care if you put a bunch of people to work. That's good. That's all good. We got a plant that's opening up here called Goshen. Right. Awesome. I don't care as long as we still have the opportunity to have combustion motors. Because if we all have EVs, there's no way that the planet is going to be able to power all those. For God's sake, stop it. And besides, there's no such thing as an electric RV. All right. Let us get to the asshole of the day. Any suggestions? Yesterday it was Kenny's ex-wife. Where is my marker? There it is. Asshole of the day today. Chris says, the manufacturers are already moving away from EVs. Molly says Gypsy Rose. I don't know. I mean, I don't know if she's an asshole for kicking the other guy to the curb. I mean, she could be an asshole because she manipulated that guy, Nick, to kill her mom and then had sex with him while she was bleeding out. Yeah, I could ponder this all day because we have a lot of potential candidates, and doggone it, I got to get on with my day. So, yeah, that's fine. We'll go ahead and make it Gypsy Rose Blanchard is your asshole of the day. How about that? There we go. Thank you. That is my time. Other nominees, Ottawa Impact for costing the county piles of money. Patrick says, thank you, big fraud. All right, folks, that's going to do it for me. I appreciate you. I'll talk to you on the Patreon. Sign up for 7 days free. Patreon.com/Eric Zane. I'm looking at you, Molly. 7 days free can be yours. Patreon.com/Eric Zane. Till then, have a good one. Till next time. Bye-bye.